All right. Thanks, guys, for coming. I'm going to turn it over today to Kate with Cross Country. She does a fantastic social media and branding training. So Kate, come on in, and I'm going
Hi,
to
everyone.
jump in and share the screen so that we can, lots of information to go through today and get started.
Yeah, perfect.
Get on the way. Is that up there? There we go. And then we can just move these guys over here, or
Perfect.
maybe over here,
Perfect.
wherever you want to go.
Yay.
All right. I'm
Okay,
gonna
cool.
slide over and let
Okay,
you,
awesome.
you know what, I'm gonna go over here so I can look from,
From this way?
yeah, because otherwise I can't myself. So-
Okay, cool. Perfect. Will you text Jessica and tell her I'm teaching? Thank you. Okay, yay. Awesome. Well, it's nice to see everybody. Like Gina said, I won't be able to see you guys if you say anything in the chat because we shared the screen. So I would love if you can unmute yourself and kind of be as open with the class as possible. Okay, perfect. So Gina and I have taught this class together a bunch of times, but this version of the class we really like. So the whole purpose of the class is to really go over branding for your business as a business owner and social media and how it could help you not only grow your business, but use as a lead generating tool as we kind of go into the busy season. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Kate. I work with Cross Country Mortgage, and I built my entire business through social media. I had no paid leads, anything like that. I got licensed right out of college. So everything that I built up to doing at my maximum about $10-15 million a year was through social media and my brand. So I'm super passionate about it. I genuinely believe this is the easiest way to gain business for $0 if you're consistent with it. So I'm going to kind of walk you through what I did, and we're going to kind of go from there. So I love to do kind of some popcorn reading in my classes, if you've ever taken one with me, because I don't love to just talk the whole time. So why doesn't someone in the room or someone on Zoom take away the first slide?
Real estate branding is crucial for distinguishing a real estate business in a highly competitive market.
Perfect. Thank you, Bray. So how many of you, and there's a couple in the room and then a couple on Zoom, if you can do the raise hand motion. So how many of you have been in the business longer than 2 years? Okay. Really, really, very few of us, which is super interesting. So all you've really known is a highly competitive market. And what's interesting about that is the one thing that can set apart two realtors that sit down in the same room if they've done the same amount of business is whether someone knows them or not, right? So the brand is super, super important. Some of the key elements and strategies we're going to talk about on how to identify your brand and grow your brand are as follows. One's your brand identity, brand positioning, your values and your mission, your brand personality, your target audience, your brand messaging, your experience, your equity, and then your strategy. So a lot of the times when we sit down and do a branding or a social media audit, the first thing I ask the realtor that I'm sitting down with is like, tell me a little bit about your brand. And almost always, I would say 95% of the time, the first thing they say is like, well, yeah, I use Facebook a lot and I use Instagram a lot and that kind of thing. And that's awesome. And while we'll get to those social media platforms, the brand is a lot more than just the 2 or 3 social media platforms that you use. And it's really how you identify the 2 biggest things the brand does for you as a small business owner. And I really do challenge you to, when you're sitting and thinking about this class, put yourself in a business owner's seat where you're using this as a tool to lead generate for business. Because I know branding and social media is not everyone's cup of tea. It's not what everyone's comfortable with, but really push yourself to think about this is a way you get more business. So think about it that way. The brand is a lot, right? The 2 big things for you, it's really helpful to identify who you're going to get your business from this year and why they're going to work with you. Super important, right? So your brand identity, Cross Country Mortgage partners with Keller Williams, one, because we have really similar brand identity. We're you know, both, luckily this year, the number one real estate company and the number one residential mortgage company in the entire country. And our brand is very, very similar. Those things show up a lot of places, but the most is the logos and the visuals. So if someone could read the logos and visuals portion, if you can see it. I'll call on people too, so.
A professional and memorable logo along with consistent color scheme and topography. Oh, sorry, my eyes,
That's okay.
my glasses on, it's going to work. Helps create and recognizable,
Brand.
create a I see the A just disappeared in there. A recognizable brand, for example, a compass icon that represents direction and guidance, something that aligns with your brand message.
Yeah, I love that. So a lot of the time people don't really think these things are as important as they are. But when you think about how you think about branding, everyone knows exactly what the red circle with the red dot in the middle is, right? When you go shopping, Target. Everybody knows like the little green mermaid on the side of the highway is Starbucks. Everybody knows that little yellow dot with the flower type thing is Walmart. Like we recognize a brand before we even associate what store it is. And it's super important when you're in a highly competitive market. And it's super important that it makes sense, right? So my favorite example is like we had a realtor do a class with us and they were obsessed with boating and they were in the what's the lake in Akron? I live right next to it. Portage Lakes. Oh my gosh. So they were really, really highly involved with Portage Lakes and they wanted to sell in that area. They ended up making their logo a cute little anchor. And so it was all around Portage Lakes and it really made sense for them. Would that make sense for someone that sells in Canton 24/7? Definitely not, right? So it really does matter.
Not a sunshine either.
Definitely not a sunshine.
Maybe a
Definitely-
snowflake.
Yeah, if it's freezing. So you guys that stayed at home, I have it out for you because we're all cold here. But then the website, that's really important too. Have you ever Googled like, this is an actual question. Have you ever Googled like pizzas near me or dinners near me or takeout near me? Okay, I do all the time. And the one thing that will just be like, ugh, I don't think I can order from here is because they don't have a website or they don't have a menu. I'm like, how am I going to call you and just ask what you can bring to my house, right? It's the same thing. You are also providing a service. So Keller Williams offers that for free. I know Amanda can help you build your website, but it's the exact same thing. If someone Googled realtor near me, listing agent near me, is your name going to come up? One, and then two, what is it going to look like when it pops up? Is it going to be reviews from 8 years ago, which happens all the time?
Yes.
Happens all the time. Because if I Googled a restaurant and their last review was in 2011 and it said 3 out of 5, I'm definitely not ordering from there. So what does that look like for you? Because NAR tells us that the number one way people find a realtor, if it's not from a referral, is just from Googling or from looking on social media. Okay. Brand positioning. This is arguably my favorite part of branding because it's the unique selling proposition that you have to give. So when we talk about all the time, if you and another realtor sat down in a room together, what are you going to be providing that other realtor is not going to? What's your niche in the market? For loan officers, we have to think of this the same exact way. So if I only work with a luxury clientele doing jumbo loans, I'm probably not going to be able to really relate to a first-time home buyer. It's going to take up a lot more time. It's going to be a lot more questions, a lot more patience required. It's the same thing for you as a realtor. If you only work with first-time home buyers, it's probably going to be very different for you if a $800,000 house in Jackson calls and says, I want to list my house. So you really have to think about your niche. But let's talk about the unique selling proposition first. Okay, if you could read my first paragraph.
Find what sets your real estate business apart. This could be expertise in a specific type of property, a focus on a particular geographic area, or exceptional customer service.
Thank you. Perfect. And then that market niche really goes hand in hand with that. It's just specializing in a specific market segment here in Northeast Ohio. Luxury homes, commercial properties. Obviously, we don't sell very many eco-friendly buildings, but it just helps you target the right audience. Like I said, if you really think about who you want to be selling with, or the majority of who you've sold with before, sometimes it just happens, right? Like I've officially been in this role for 3 years, and I can say 70% of my business was first time home buyers. And so for me, when I sit down with a customer or a realtor refers me a customer, I have full confidence answering the phone and saying, I can walk you through the entire process. I definitely know what questions you're going to have, and I can help throughout the way. If someone's been removed from that for a really long time and they're on third, fourth, fifth homes, secondary homes, investment properties, it's very difficult to sell a customer that way. And real estate agents are the same way. So I would really take time to think about the last running 12 months and then pair it with the next running 12 months. What are your goals for this year? And how do you put yourself in the best position possible to be talking to the target audience who's going to give you the most business? It would be really silly of me to go to a investment seminar and talk about how I can help you with down payment assistance on your first residential property. Those two things don't match up. No one's going to remember me or take me seriously. So think about those things when you're branding. And then your values and mission. Obviously, you see the mission of Keller Williams all around every room that you go in an office, to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living. It's a super powerful value and mission, right? I don't know how many of you went to a different brokerage before coming to Keller Williams or interviewed with anybody else, but most certainly don't talk about having longevity with a company the way Keller Williams does. And it's the same thing for your business when you sit down. So kind of to give some examples, Matt, can you see that far? Do I need to blow this up? Can you read core value?
Clearly communicate your core values. For example, Keller Williams emphasizes their commitment to family, integrity, and service.
Love that. I always tell people when I first got into the business, one of the reasons I associated with Keller Williams immediately is because the first thing that I heard in a recruiting appointment, I thought I was interviewing at the time. I didn't realize they would just take anybody, but I thought I was interviewing. And one of the things that they told me is that our company, we do God, family, and then business. And what that stuck with me. And at the time, I really didn't even know what that meant. I was 19 and single, and I just really liked that they had such specific values, and it stuck with me. The mission statement, for example, Cross Country's mission statement is to be the most referred mortgage lender in every community that we serve. And it's really powerful to get a borrower on the phone and say, hey, listen, like my one goal is to be the most referred lender in North Canton. So I promise you, your experience with me is going to be incredible because it's my one goal to be the most referred lender. So sitting down at a listing appointment, you might say something like, I would like to be the most referred realtor in Jackson. And so Mr. Buyer, I'm going to give you the best service possible. That's a very different line of communication versus just saying like, I'm an expert in listing properties. Those feel different from a consumer perspective. And thinking about that in your own business, even just so you understand why you're doing what you're doing. Because honestly, at the end of the day, I'm sure if you've been in this business for even a little bit of time, you're not always going to have the discipline to get up in the morning and lead generate. It's a hard business sometimes, but if you can remember why you're doing it, it's a lot easier to relay to a customer. Brand personality, this is really kind of where it gets fun. The voice and tone and personal branding of agents is where you kind of let your creative side of the business show, right? And this isn't everybody's favorite thing, but it is where we can get pretty fun. Bree, can you read voice and tone?
Consistency and communication across all channels reinforces the brand personality.
Perfect. And then when you really think about your personal branding, you're the face of your own business, right? So you work at Keller Williams, but I would venture to say most people aren't hiring you because you work at Keller Williams. They're hiring you because you're you. So really thinking about your personal brand aligning with the business brand and enhancing trust and relatability to your consumer is the number one way to get someone to like and know you, right? And trust you. And so that voice and tone, when we talk about voice and tone across all channels, it's things like you wouldn't get on your Instagram live on like a Saturday night at a party where someone's like doing a keg stand and then get on your stories the next day and be like, I'm at an open house, come see me. We've all seen it before, but
Seen some things.
we've seen some things, but people do it. And it doesn't have to be that, crazy of an example. It's really just making sure your voice and your tone match. Whether you're on Instagram or Facebook and then showing up in a professional setting, whether you like it or not, this business is about who you know in your sphere. Even if you're not really a sphere person, your brand is who you are. That's what this business is. So making sure those things match is super important. I will say too, once you know your target audience, you can speak to them a little bit differently, right? So like I mentioned, I work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and I use Instagram a lot. That average age demographic is very different than the average age demographic of Facebook. And so if I were to post something on Instagram about down payment assistance and buying your first property, my tone and my personal, persona is going to be a little bit different than how I present myself on Facebook, but they're still going to match, if that makes sense. So it's really kind of just about knowing who you're selling to and where. It pairs really well with our next slide of target audience. The demographic analysis and client personas is something you can start to really get into once you've been in the business for about like 6 to 12 months and really understand who you're working with. Does anybody on Zoom want to read the first one for me? I'm not sure if I can see everybody or if everybody's still muted, but
I'll take it.
thanks. Zach.
Demographic analysis. Use tools like Google Analytics and social media insights to understand your audience's demographics.
Love that. So, just out of curiosity, does everybody here have a business page, or are we mostly using our personal pages? Personal. Yeah, so me too. And I'll never say that this is the right way, but all I can do is teach from how I did it. And always ask your broker. I learned to say that in my classes now. Ask your broker if you have any questions. But I personally built my entire platform only on a personal page. And what's really, really unique about that is you already had people raise their hand and say they want to be your friend. They wanted to hear from you. They wanted to see your life updates. So this is the easiest way to kind of get information out there. And it doesn't have to be just flyers of properties that you're looking at. It can be anything from detailing why more millennials now than ever are moving to Northeast Ohio for cost of living or for any reason. I mean, these are interesting things that all people want to read about, whether that they're purchasing a home or not. And I can promise you, if you're consistent with putting that out into the world, they're going to think of you first when they think of a real estate professional. And it's just like the client personas, creating detailed, specific content for your target audience. So I will say this over and over again. Mine was young professionals. So I did just that. It was highlighting places to eat in where we lived. It was in Ohio City. So it was places to eat, coffee places to drink, things to do on the weekend, why it mattered if you bought a duplex versus single family home as a first time home buyer and why that was such a powerful first investment. Those type of things are what people are looking
We
for.
have 2 questions.
Oh, questions. How do I get there? Questions in the
You
chat.
just covered. There you
Business page.
Sorry.
Then share on personal. Okay. Okay, perfect. Oh, oh my gosh.
Move the group and then you can go back.
Move this group.
Yeah, just drag it.
Okay.
Better.
Brand messaging, slogans, taglines, and content marketing. I love a good slogan. I kind of talk in slogan when I talk to my customers, and they don't even really notice it. So, for example, a slogan and a tagline doesn't have to be like what you think of when you think of like a fast food restaurant, where it's like Subway's like build it your way. Like it doesn't have to be like so cheesy, but it can be super powerful. So for example, I worked with a realtor who always told their customers on the phone when I was working with them, she's a luxury agent out of a luxury, very small niche brokerage. And she'd always say something like, luxury isn't a price point, it's an experience that I'm going to give you. that is a slogan or a tagline, but when you hear that as a customer from someone selling you something, it immediately makes you feel more apt to work with them, like they're coming polished and really put together. So for you and your business, whatever that looks like, you can really, really come up with 1 or 2 lines that really help people associate that in you in selling your business. So for
Can I make a recommendation on that?
Yeah.
too? I recently had to do a headline.
yes,
And so what I did was I took my bio, and yes, you should have a bio. If you don't have a bio, just start looking at other people's to get an idea, or just go on ChatGPT and tell it what you want it to say.
yeah,
And then proof it. But what I did was I copied my bio and put it in ChatGPT, and I said, come up with a 1-sentence headline.
yeah,
There's plenty of technology out there if you don't want to spend time thinking it over.
yeah,
And then I said, give me 3 options.
yeah,
And then I picked, and if I didn't like it, I would say, keep going, you
Yeah.
know, like it's until you find one, but my ChatGPT is well used, so it knows me pretty good.
yeah, that's
Um,
awesome.
So it gave me the headline. I didn't think about it again. I put it on the site that I needed to, and I didn't think about it, moving on.
Yeah, very well said. It doesn't have to be difficult. I mean, that's a really great way to put
Don't let
it.
it scare you, like, oh my God, what do I have to do? And I'm gonna spend 4 hours today trying to think of this headline.
Yeah,
No.
definitely don't do that. And you could just raise your hand and ask for help, right? If ChatGPT isn't working or Pinterest isn't working or Google's not working, you have Amanda, who I'm sure is more than happy to help you with that kind of thing. You have me, I'm more than happy to help. So yeah, it does not have to be difficult by any means.
I just did mine yesterday with Amanda, so I know that she'll help.
Yes. So I don't know if you guys could hear that, but Bree mentioned that she just did hers with Amanda yesterday and she was great. So. Okay, brand experience. This is arguably the most important, whether you like it or not. People are going to have an experience with you, and it's either going to be great, or it's going to be okay, or it's going to be horrible. And we can all think of a million different times we've had all of those experiences. Even with the most consistent brands in the world. Like my friends joke with me all the time that since I had my baby, there's never been a time they see me without coffee in my hand. And so like for me, like the most consistent brand of all time in my mind, Starbucks, because it's what I use all the time. Even that sometimes is wrong, but overall the consistency is so good that it keeps me coming back, right? So it's about time on task over time with branding, that's for sure. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about next. So customer service. We're certainly in a people business. I love when Gary Keller talks about how Keller Williams isn't a real estate company, it's a technology company that helps sell real estate. And you should really think of your business that way too. You are a people in a people business. You're not a salesperson, you're not selling anything other than yourself. People are always going to buy and sell real estate. You don't have to convince anybody to buy and sell houses, but you do have to convince them to use you when they do it. And so you really should think of yourself that way. Instead of saying, you know, I'm an excellent realtor, you're going to talk about the experience that they're going to get when they work with you. And so it says exceptional services at every touch point is now an absolute must. From initial inquiry to post sale follow up, it creates positive experience and fosters loyalty. So when we talk about from every touch point, we'll kind of walk through what Matt and I do on our sales team to make sure that no one could ever say like they didn't know what was going on in the process, because in this industry the one thing that people can say is like, I have no idea what's going on, right? So from the time they apply on our website, well, usually we talk to them before they apply because we're a referral based team, but from the time that they apply on our website, they have a sales team of 3 different people, and this is if you're a solo agent, please don't. You can do this on your own is what I'm trying to say. But from the time they apply on our website, we have 3 different people who are gonna, one of them is gonna reach out within 12 hours. Thanks so much for your application. We received it. We're working on it for you. Within the next 12 hours, they get a text message, an email, or a phone call that says your file's ready. We have some questions. Let's get together. What time works best for you? From then, we select a loan program that works best for them or get a game plan for them to get them in better shape to qualify. From there, we also talk to the realtor. Hey, you know, Jack, your customer, Brian, qualifies for a conventional loan program. We're going to send this to you in an email, but you're going to get the pre-approval letter. They don't need seller concessions. We're going to tell them everything that they need to know. So if they wanted to write an offer that night, they can. And then from there, usually every Friday, hey, I see you haven't written any offers yet. What's that looking like for you? Do you need me to run numbers on any properties for you? And then the time that they go under contract, they already know what that monthly estimate looks like. They already know what their cash to close looks like because we go over all of that in the pre-approval. And then from there, it literally is every point of the transaction, they hear from someone on our team. They went under contract, we have all of your numbers, we're working that up for you, we're ready to lock you. It's time for the appraisal is back. There's literally not a single part of the process where a customer wouldn't know what was going on. And from there, with great customer experience or customer service, you need to get them to write about their experience, right? I don't know if anybody here gets reviews. Show of hands, couple of us. I don't know if anyone online gets reviews. But leveraging positive reviews is a whole way to gain business. Both your website and all of your SEO platforms are incredibly important to get reviews. In our line of work, there really is no such thing other than past sales and past volume than reviews as our resume for a customer. So it would be really tough to go into a seller's home and say, well, I've never sold any homes before and I don't have any reviews, but I'm really good at my job, right? And so this does not have to come from years and years of experience. You just have to get a little bit creative. For example, when I was literally 20 years old, none of my friends were purchasing homes yet, but a lot of them were looking for apartments, that kind of thing. And I would take them into the apartments, just schedule the tour for them and just take them. You're probably not going to get a commission on all apartments, but some platforms do. And then just have them write you a review about showing them properties. It doesn't always have to end in a sale. If the goal is to grow your brand, another way is like run some CMAs for people who might want to sell in the future and ask them to share their experience of how well you communicated their CMA to them. You could grow easily a list of 10 different reviews and share those all over social media, or your website or your SEO platforms. It doesn't always have to be from sales. You kind of have to get creative in order to like get that snowball started. And Gina talks about this a lot in coaching too. You say one sentence that I love, but it's something like busyness creates busyness. It's something like if you're actively doing things in your business.
I know what you're saying. But
I know. I know.
I was on another thought, which is this. If you don't ask for the review, you're not gonna get the review. or testimonial. You
Absolutely.
have to ask for it. And I do, and I know it'll come to me, but a thanks a latte postcard.
Love that.
And then if they do a review, for every review they do, I'll send them a $5 gift card for like Ohio Roasting or something like that. And put the website, you have to make it easy for them. Don't just say, hey, Kate, will you do a review or a testimonial for me? If you're gonna do that, do it like this. I think Mason just did it with you yesterday, right?
Yeah.
He's putting together a flyer. Hey, Bree, will you write a testimonial about my photos? So that he put it on his flyer. So if you are gonna create the content, then you can say, hey, Kate, will you email me a testimonial that you're giving me permission to use? And then you can go put it on your marketing. But if you want them to do a testimonial or review, like on Google or Zillow or any of those places, then they have to do it. Email them or text them with the link.
Yeah, I love that.
People are lazy.
Yeah, you definitely got to make it easy for
You
them.
wouldn't want them not to do it only because and listen, I'm the guilty party, guys. If someone wants me to do something for them like that, and they're not gonna make it easy for me to do something for them,
I know what you mean.
I'm not doing it.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
not.
I'm so cold.
I know, it is cold.
I'm shaking.
So make it easy. In your postcard that says thanks a latte, put the link in there. But then follow up with an email. Hey, just wanted to remind you about doing these reviews. Here's the links.
We've taught a whole class on getting reviews too. So what's really interesting about it is you have to ask a person for a review at their peak excitement.
Yeah.
So it's never going to be the same time for every customer. And I think the reason why so many people fail with reviews is because they ask them on the day of closing.
Right.
Because they're like, okay, it's over, give me a review.
Yeah.
But that's the last time you should ever ask a consumer for a review. It's because like this day is all about them and that purchase. So you need to identify what their peak excitement is, because sometimes that's literally just getting their offer accepted. Sometimes it's getting through a really tough ROC. Sometimes it's getting the house listed after we spent weeks trying to get grandma to clean out all of her stuff. Sometimes for us, it's working with someone for 6 months to finally get an approval. But it's never the day of closing.
Sometimes it's moving day.
Yes.
Bringing a pop by with a gift or something like that. My most recent review was someone who called me 2 months after they closed on their house, which was about this time last year, because the furnace broke.
Mm,
And then I got him in touch with his warranty got denied
love
for
that.
the home warranty. I don't know why, but it did. And so I called our guy, Ty Wayne, and said, listen, dude, we're selling your home warranty. What the hell?
Yeah.
He got involved. He looked into it, and guess what? They approved it, and for their trouble, they waived the deductible.
Oh, good.
And so I didn't even ask him for it. He went on and put a review out there that, oh my gosh, 2 months after I closed on my transaction, my agent went to the bother and he told the story. So like, that's the best kind of a review that you can get.
The best, and I think it's a testament that you need to stay in, obviously, this person called you.
Right.
However, it's a testament that you need to stay in touch with your customers.
How did the move go?
Post-close.
What's happening now? You
So
know?
the rule of thumb should always be, like, obviously you talk to them on the day they close, and God forbid this is just a horrible customer you never ever want to talk to again. We're all gonna have one of those every once in a while. But you talk to them the day of close, give them a week, ask, have you moved in yet? Do you need anything? I know you talked a lot about updating the kitchen. Do you need referrals for painters or for someone who can professionally fix your cabinets or whoever? And then 30 days goes by. Oh my gosh, I just drove past your house in your neighborhood. Everything is looking so good. Do you need anything? I can't believe it's been 30 days. I miss showing you guys houses. 60 days. How's everything going? You should have now received X, Y, and Z in the mail. And then at 90 days,
And by the
asking
way,
for referrals.
Yeah, you can create a smart plan, by the way,
100%.
to do all that for you, and you don't have to do a thing.
And Amanda can help you with the smart plans too. She's really incredible with that. But I think the asking for referrals at the 90-day mark is so powerful because they've had such a good experience with you. You've talked to them 3 times just asking how they were. And now on the 90th day, you're saying, hey, like, Matt, I've loved working with you so much. I can't seem to find another customer I like working with as much as you. Who in your life that's just like you is looking for a house? I want to work with them. Really gas them up. They just love that kind of stuff. But this is part of your brand. They want to know that the realtor that they're working with for the biggest purchase of their life is going to be at least personable enough to give them an experience that they're going to remember. What's crazy is that this is from about 2020, so this is quite some time ago now, but NAR had a statistic that 82% of people didn't even remember their realtor's name.
We just heard that recently.
It's wild. It's crazy. This is the biggest purchase that 95% of people make in their entire life, and they don't even remember you. And that's not their fault. It's us for not following up, right?
Listen, I had a referral from a past client who sent me a referral, which was his wife's a therapist, a patient of his wife who's getting a divorce. And he said, you know what? You sold us a house 10 years ago, and the only reason why I remember you, and I don't remember your name, I'm so sorry, is because you send me those silly little calendars every year.
Yeah.
And it's sitting on my file cabinet, and there it is. And then I sold the house.
And I think, like, to that point, I actually love that example so much because to that point, people do get bogged down and like, I don't understand why brand matters and I don't understand why the social media stuff matters. I don't get it because they don't see results right away. But this is why. It's a funnel of your lead gen, right? The MREA tells us that we need at least 3 sources of lead generation at all times. You should have 5, 2 on deck and 3 on. And one of them should be social media and branding because it's completely free. It's the experience that you give and it's easy to follow up with people on. And this is where you really have to put that cap on and say like, this is how I grow business. This is how I grow my business as a business owner. This is how I get more referrals. This is how I get more leads. This is how I grow my business.
I'll give one more example too.
Yeah.
I hear this a lot. Well, it was a listing that I had, not a buyer. So what am I gonna ask them about? They moved out of the area. I didn't sell them a house, blah, blah, blah. What's there to say to a listing? I guess I'll ask that question for those of you who have listings. What's there to say in a follow-up to someone that you listed their house 2 months ago? Like, how did the move go? Like, you're not asking if the house you sold them. So you have to come up with a plan around that. But here's more important. I teach a class called orphan leads. Does anyone know what an orphan lead is? Tell us what an orphan lead is.
When you are the buyer's agent or the seller's agent in a transaction, the opposite customer. So if you're representing the buyer, the lister, the seller, oftentimes that realtor is not going to follow up with them and they become an orphan client because they don't have a realtor following up with them.
And so like, if to break it down easier for you to think, most people don't think, they think about it as in the listing and then the new buyer. If I have a listing, if I have a buyer, I can always follow up with that buyer, right?
Yeah.
I should be mailing to the house that was sold, but we don't know where that person moved to, right? But if I sell a house that is, what am I trying to say? My listing, and you buy it, you're his agent and you buy my listing, that's your house and you moved. And now Brian lives in my listing. I'm gonna assume that Kate's not following up with you anymore, so I'm gonna send you in 2 weeks. Hey, just wanted to welcome you into your new home. Yes, I represented the seller, but I just was hoping that, things are going well, blah, blah, blah. And then I start marketing to you. So I resold the same house 3 times.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful when when those
Yes.
kind of things happen.
And I wasn't the 2 buyers agent ever. I just kept getting the listing.
I love
So
that.
if you're thinking, who am I sending these note cards to? Who am I marketing to? I've only sold 1 or 2 houses. That can duplicate when you're looking at orphan leads.
100%. 100%. Brand equity, this is kind of the more boring part of branding, but it's also very important. Just managing the reputation that you have in the industry and then the consistent quality. So regularly monitoring the online reviews and responding to feedback, establishing a presence on platforms like Google My Business, Zillow, and Facebook. It's 100% a necessity. And then that consistent quality is really kind of just making sure you're ensuring that your marketing materials, anything from the flyers you're sending out to postcards, online listing, it's maintaining that really high level of standard. So we all know someone in the industry that looks like, and God bless them, looks like they just like put together something on Word. And unfortunately, in 2025, it just doesn't cut it anymore, especially when there's things like Command, there's things like Canva, there's people who can help you, all that kind of stuff. Everything from like the description to the photos make a difference. I think the number one thing I see on Facebook all the time is realtors being like, please stop using your cell phone to take pictures of houses. I see it all the time. It's everything in the quality that you're putting out, from a listing to a flyer to an invitation to an open house to a market update. Everything has to be consistent. Marketing plan and partnerships. This is definitely the hardest part, I would say, because I think a lot of people have what I call analysis paralysis, where they're like, okay, I need to create a brand and I need to do social media, but they just sit and think about it so much that they end up not doing anything at all. And so creating a plan now is super helpful while we start the busy season. I don't know if you guys have really seen the spring market kick off, but we have. It is here, which is a sign of a super healthy real estate year. So we're really happy about that. But creating a plan now really helps going into that spring market, so you don't have to sit and wonder what you're going to post or what you're going to do during those busy times. So the marketing plan is really developing a comprehensive marketing plan. For example, this would be a good mix of digital and print marketing, social media, and events to reach your target audience. So if it were me and I had a goal of selling 50 houses this year and I haven't sold 1 yet, if it were me, I would sit down today and say, over the course of the next 2 months, what could I post or what could I put out into the world that would get me new potential customers? The first thing I would post is that tax refund season's here and you can use your tax refund to buy a house, because no one's thinking that they can do that. And if they are thinking that, they probably haven't talked to a realtor yet or been in touch with a lender. So that would be everything I posted about in the month of February would be tax refunds for a down payment or tax refunds to pay off debt. And the number one thing you should do is call me, because my lender does that the best. That would be the one thing that I posted in February. And then in March, the one thing I would post about is spring real estate market. I would say if you have any hope in purchasing the house you want over the next 2 months, you have to get approved now, because spring market's here and we are going to see 5,000 new buyers enter the market because they're finally out of hibernation and everyone's just going to want to move. So you need to get pre-approved now. And then in April, I would post something similar to that, right? So you have to think about what's happening in the actual market. The good news for all of us is this is a really cyclical business. We see the same thing happen every year. December is slow, January is dead, February we start to pick up, March we're slammed, April we're slammed, May we have a little dip because of Memorial Day, June we're slammed, July a little dip, and then August we have this huge rush before school starts every year. It's not rocket
And so
science.
we have a blank calendar in the drive,
Yes.
plan your content, at least just one thing.
Mhm.
You can use the blank calendar, use your Google Calendar, whatever. It makes it much easier. If I'm gonna spend 10 minutes right now doing something, I may as well spend 30 and just complete it. So like,
100%.
plug in your content at least for one post. That's a monthly thing.
And if you are in coaching there, we created this this time last year. I have probably at least 5 or 6 posts for every single
Yeah.
month of the year. You can go reuse them.
It's in.
We've already
Google Drive
created it.
and Kate's social media posts, and it's
Yep.
there for you to customize.
And then partnerships. This one's really cool because it doesn't have to just be on you. And I do think that there's power in seeing 2 brands come together. It kind of just makes things look a little bit more polished, like coming to a realtor and saying, I already have a lender for you, or going to, your realtor and already having an inspector that they can use that you've used before, all those things. It really just makes you look like an expert. So collaborating with local businesses to expand your reach and add value to your customers, a local lender for marketing services, a local coffee shop to host events. I know one of the bigger things that I've seen people doing lately is first-time homebuyer seminars in a less seminar-y fashion and more of like a networking style event, labeling it as like a master class or something like that. So finding your people in the industry that can help you is super, super important. And that's obviously what Jessica and I and Matt are all here for from CCM at least. Okay, this is one of my favorite quotes ever. Gina, could you read this for me?
Your brand should be a reflection of you and your dream customer.
Okay, so your brand should be a reflection of you and your dream customer. So if I thought about my dream customer and then I looked at my social media or my marketing plan from the last 30 days and they didn't coincide, I would spend some time thinking about what my dream customer is and how I can change my brand and my approach to get to that dream customer.
It's funny you'd say that because some of you have done this appointment with me recently. I'm looking at you, Bree. In our one-on-ones, an exercise we've been working on is 2 parts to add to this, which is this. Who is my ideal customer? And what does my ideal day in real estate look like? And then, who's my target audience?
Love that.
And if you haven't asked yourself those questions as a business owner of you need to ask yourself those questions. And I think, and what I find is people are hesitant about is this. They're afraid to write down who they think their ideal client is because, or, who's my target audience? It doesn't mean it's not everybody.
Yeah, right.
It just means, here's my target. Occasionally a pizza place might sell chicken.
Yeah.
But they're a pizza place.
Yeah.
That they also sell chicken.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It doesn't mean you have to just be the one thing, but you're gonna get more people into the pizza joint who's looking to buy a pizza.
Yeah, think about it this way. So, if someone calls your phone and they want to buy a house, you're going to sell it to them, right? But this is you creating a way for more people to find you that are going to call you. Like you're obviously always going to take a lead. However, creating your brand to set up a platform in which your dream customer comes to you, that's what we're doing here. You're not eliminating all of the other customers. You're just saying, this is my lane and people in my lane are just going to come to me.
Well, and why not? Why not say this? My ideal customer is a listing
Yeah.
within 2 minutes of where I live.
Yeah.
And it's over 500,000.
Yeah.
It's clean to my liking. They're nice people who listen to what I say. That's my ideal customer.
That gives 6% commission
Exactly.
without arguing.
Yes. Now, but that just means I could work from that ideal out then to say, well, but would I take it if it's 300,000? Of course. Would I work with them if they were also buying a house?
Of
Maybe.
course. Yes.
Maybe. I might throw a little tantrum in the driveway on my way out.
Yes.
But I might still do it. And then so on. So we can go from there and then add on, but you should know who you want to look for.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing about just any job that you ever take. Like there's gonna be things about it that you don't like, and there's gonna be the customers that you really never want to work with again, and that's great. However, like the one thing that's never gonna burn you out is working with people that you like. It's just never gonna burn you out. Working with the people who you don't enjoy working with is gonna burn you out quickly.
Well, it will do this. It will teach you things.
Yeah,
A lot of things about challenges, how to overcome obstacles, which we have
Correct.
to learn anyway. So I am grateful to all those jerks I worked with because they taught me lots of things, how to jump through hoops and overcome obstacles.
so true. Very well said. Social media, everyone's favorite topic, always. So using social media to grow your real estate business involves a combination of a couple different things, which we're gonna really nail in on. So strategic content creation, engagement, and then leveraging platform-specific features. So I want to preface this with, I only have used Facebook and Instagram to grow my business significantly. So when we're going through the next slides, think of those two platforms, but this can be done on any platform that you feel like you'd have success on. So choose the right platforms for you, creating high quality content, engaging with your audience, leveraging paid ads, utilizing hashtags and keywords, analyzing and adjusting, collaborate and network, host events, and then showcase your expertise. So choose the right platform, Facebook and Instagram and more. Forgot this. I was already going to talk about that. Okay. So for Facebook, everybody here probably has a Facebook. If you don't, you're Matt, because he just opened or just started his. So we're working on it. But Facebook is awesome for community building. That is the one thing that you should think of in your mind when you think about Facebook. It's amazing for building community. Facebook pages for business updates and Facebook groups for engaging with local communities. It's the one platform that does it better than anything, where you can create a community of like-minded people and they're going to see your stuff. Instagram is really good for like the visual aesthetic content. If you're doing house tours, if you take a really nice listing, if you're doing a day in the life of a realtor, if you're going to a local coffee shop, here's why you would move to Canton, here's why you would move to Jackson, with like fun aesthetic type content, Instagram is going to be your best friend. LinkedIn is perfect for networking with other realtors. The reason I put LinkedIn in here is because you have a massive opportunity at Keller Williams to grow your downline. And you literally have someone in the room here who has an invested reason for you to grow your database, and it's Gina. So if you find a realtor that you like to work with, if you sell a house, I should say this, if you're a buyer's agent and you really enjoyed working with the listing agent or vice versa, you 100% should be calling Gina to say, I loved working with Mary Sue. Could you call her and ask her if she'd be open to meeting with you and learning about Keller Williams? Because you can get money from that. Your downline can be incredible. I haven't been at Keller Williams in almost 4 years, and I still get profit share every single month. And it is crazy that it could change your life. It could be your car payment, it could be your mortgage payment, it could be $50 for you to just pay for your advertising for the month. And you're changing someone else's life by coming to Keller Williams. So 100% you should be doing that. Just throwing that out there. TikTok, now that it's not banned, RIP to TikTok. Really good for viral trends. A lot of the fun, like lighthearted content can be really TikTok based. And the one really cool thing about TikTok is if you film it in TikTok, it can be shared on all platforms because they format the same way. Creating high quality content, way more important than I think people think it is. I always say consistency is the single most important thing, but only if it's quality product. So what you don't want to do is, like we said, have something just thrown together in like a Word platform, or just something that doesn't look very nice or not professional or not curated or not well thought out, just because you know you need to post something. Just don't do it at that point, right? So consistency is important, but quality is also important. The visual content needs to be, appropriate. Don't share a photo that looks like it was taken on a flip phone from 2010. That's super, super important. educational content is super important to make sure that you're presenting yourself as an expert in the industry. This could be anything from tips for sellers in this market to industry news. I saw so many people copy and paste the exact same caption for the NAR settlement back in August and September. It drove me nuts. Cause it's like, just talk about it from like where your head's at. Don't just copy another realtor's post. It just drives me nuts. Blog posts are really helpful as well. Client testimonials, I think, go so far. Sharing positive client reviews and success stories is massive. And when I say success stories, I don't think that you should just say, another 5-star review from Gina. She really likes working with me. What I would post if it were me sharing a success story is I've worked with their permission, with your customer's permission. I've worked with Gina for 7 months. We have wrote 12 offers. We have gone through 3 ROCs and we finally found her dream house, and it's been a pleasure working with her. That's a lot different than just posting a 5-star review. And then your personal content, whether we like it or not, this business is about people who like, know, and trust us are going to refer us business and work with us. So they do have to see a certain side of you. And I'm not saying you have to post pictures of the interior of your home or your family 24/7. That's not what I'm saying. But you do have to show a little bit of personality and explain why someone should work with you without saying this is why you should work with me. For example, there was 3 things in my brain that every single time I posted on social media, it would be one of these 3 things. I am obsessed with the city of Cleveland. I moved home after college and lived in Ohio City for 6 years. I was obsessed with the revitalization of Northeast Ohio. It was incredible to me that I went away to school, and like all of my friends were coming back to the city, and it was so different, and it was a really good place to live, and we're doing the best things. I post about it all the time, from Cleveland sports to Cleveland food to all of the new projects that are happening downtown, Cleveland, Cleveland, Cleveland. The next thing I posted about all the time was coffee shops or breweries. I'm obsessed with both. I love craft beer and I love coffee. I posted about it all the time. That's not, sharing all of my personal business, but it's like a couple fun things that I like to do. And then the last, I love working with other women in business. I would post a ton of women in business posts. I would find different places in Cleveland that had a woman-owned company, and I'll partner with them. One of my favorites today is a company called Ocean, and she does all handcrafted leather goods and metal goods, and we posted together all the time, and it made a really cool community of other women who were in business together. So those were my 3 things I would talk about if I wasn't talking about real estate. And so over time, it was like, oh my God, you're the Cleveland girl. And at the time, there was a really cool brand in Cleveland, also woman owned. Her name is Emily Roggenberg. She was the one that, if you ever see all of those pictures of the Cavs parade from 2016 overhead, she was the one that she rented a helicopter that day and took professional pictures. And that was like the start of her brand. And it's really cool how her whole story got started, and just whatever. But at the time, the shirts Cleveland AF were really popular. And back when my mom was like, what does AF mean? And I was like, it means absolutely fantastic. And it was funny, and then so I would wear a shirt that said Cleveland Realtor AF, because at the time in 2016, it was trendy. People got it, and they would be like, oh my gosh, you're the Cleveland Realtor person. And I would say, yes, I'm obsessed with Cleveland. So I'm not saying you have to be obsessed with, North Canton or Jackson or wherever you sell, but be obsessed with something. Come up with something that feels really good to you. Like I said, whether it was like the Cleveland Browns, which at the time was also not great. They have not been great my entire time in the industry, but let's just, in life.
But it's okay. We can still like the teams that fail us.
Right. I mean, like my dog's name is Baker.
Yeah.
Love him. I have another dog named King James. Love him. We're not, yeah. So just find your niche and really speak to that. I know like Preston is a really good example. He has farm animals at his house that just run around like chickens, and he talks about that a lot. Like Brendan, who used to be here, now is at a different brokerage, loves cars, posts about cars a lot. Like you can find your niche and what you like to talk about. It could be working out. It could be gardening, for all I care. Like, so whatever feels good to you, pick that. Engaging with your audience. So none of this matters if you don't talk to your customers. So you could have the single best post in the world. The president of the United States would, past or present, whatever one you like better. They could comment on your post. And none of it matters if you don't talk to all of the people who are commenting on your posts. So responding, joining, those are the things that actually turn into business. So responding to comments and messages. Obviously that's important. If someone comments on your post, you're going to want to comment back. Joining groups and discussions is equally as important if you're a Facebook-based realtor. Polls and Q&A were one of the ways I got the most engagement. And the way I did that was using stories. Now Facebook has stories, but when I joined in the good old day, only Instagram had stories. So using polls and Q&As was an awesome way to get people to actually talk to you. Some common polls I would do would be things like doing some market research. What's more important to you if you were buying a house tomorrow? And I would do a poll of size of the home, proximity to work, proximity to family, style of the home. And people would just do it because they love stuff like that. And the next would be like, what's your favorite style of kitchen? Posting 4 styles of kitchens I found on Pinterest. People love talking about that kind of stuff. Q&A is like, has anybody thought about what a day in the life of a realtor looks like? Posting your little day, like what's the one thing holding you back from purchasing a home this year if you haven't already? What's the one thing keeping you back from investing in real estate? The one thing keeping you back from refinancing your home? Asking people questions, that's the #1 way people are gonna just engage.
And be one of them, I'll say this, if what stops you is it sounds too salesy and maybe people don't reply because they know you're an agent and it seems like scripty. We all live in a house or an apartment or something.
Yeah.
So just say this, hey, I'm thinking about painting my kitchen. What color would you do?
Yeah,
Be
absolutely.
one of them.
And you can come up, I mean, there's literally things every day that come out that are just like, why? I don't even understand how this is a thing. Like paint color of the year.
Right.
I literally didn't even know that was real, but
Yeah.
it is.
Listen, there's a
It's
popcorn
real.
day.
Yeah,
There's a day for
everything
this.
is
There's always
everything is
something.
real. So it's
We
like,
have content just on what is today. Like
Yeah.
Amazon's always showing, not Amazon, my Alexa's always showing me what day it is.
yeah,
Like recently it was popcorn day. Didn't know. So I would've went-
100%.
And I would have went and bought one of those bags because I love popcorn. But anyway, that's content every single day.
Like-
Is what day is it today?
To your point, now I'm just getting all excited thinking about all these posts, but like a good post today, if you were gonna leave and post something today, I would say something like, it's January 22nd. If saving money or being more financially literate was one of your 2025 resolutions or goals and you're renting, let's talk about how you can save money by owning home.
Yeah.
Or if that's too salesy or too forward too, it's like you could, yeah,
To mix it in, but if what you're just trying to do is draw engagement to then boost that algorithm.
you gotta be
Be
fun.
one of them.
Yeah.
Be a person in your community. Oh my gosh, I just found this new coffee shop over here on the corner of blah, blah, blah. I'm here working today,
Yeah,
and then have the MLS pulled up on your computer.
love that.
That's a little sprinkle of real estate
Love that.
then.
Love that. So true. Does anybody here use paid advertising on social media? Looks like no's.
Amanda just taught a class on this
Yeah, I've
yesterday.
done it like once for listing, but
Okay, so targeted ads are great if you can do them right. Is anybody interested in talking about paid advertisement in this? Okay, I'm getting no's.
It's okay. Amanda just taught a class yesterday
Okay.
about this in Command for $25 ads.
Love.
And it's just a month. To be part of the group, you have to commit to do the accountability stuff as well as, because we're trying to show, does it work?
Yeah,
So to be part of the group,
which it does.
she did a class yesterday and she did record it, but you have to agree to certain criteria, which is coming to the classes,
Yeah,
tracking what you're doing it the way we're saying to do it, and you have to spend at least $25 a month on the ad.
love. Okay. Utilizing hashtags and keywords. They're both so important for different reasons. So everybody remembers the time at peak of market when people were doing literally 180 hashtags at the bottom of their post. You can stop doing that. Like we don't need that anymore. The SEO and the algorithm has now kind of switched to something called keywords. So it's still important to use a hashtag if it's relevant to your business.
And if it goes somewhere, I think it's hysterical when people think there's a hashtag for every term in the world. And
Oh,
it doesn't actually
like-
go anywhere.
My poor mom, we love her. We love her, but she is new to the social
Ah.
media game and her hashtags are truly out of control. Like I'll text my dad and be like, get mom's phone. And the hashtag is wild. It's like hashtag cooking chicken paprikash for dinner tonight at my house with my husband. What are you guys doing? And it's all like one stew, and I'm like,
That's what I need.
I'm like, please, let's calm. And it'll be like hashtag at home and like tag her own address in the hashtag. And I'm like, geez, okay. So we're gonna not do that. And like things like hashtag sold. If you've ever clicked on a hashtag sold, it could take you to like the local egg market where
Right.
people are buying like farmer grade eggs. Like it has to be relevant to your business. But the new thing is like keywords. So if you are posting something and in the caption, something about real estate is in the caption, the algorithm really shows that to the people searching for real estate now. So really the purpose is be intentional with what you're saying in the caption.
And that goes to your bio too,
Yes.
is think of keywords.
Yeah.
That will pull people to it. So
Love.
like selling homes in Jackson Township.
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Someone told me too that like if you do like Brianna the realtor on every single post, since like, I mean, I wouldn't do it if my name was like Brian, you know, because a lot of people have that spelling of a name. But if you did like Brian and then your last initial, the realtor, on every post, then it becomes like more consistent.
Yeah,
Then it's,
100%.
like,
It might have been
somebody-
one of my classes.
Maybe.
Because
Yeah, someone told me it.
so I used, it was, the Cleveland AF Realtor. It was a hashtag I used on every single one of my posts. And when you went to it, there was all of a sudden 160 posts and they were only mine. Because to your point, like no one else is using that hashtag. It has to be appropriate to you and your business. So analyzing and adjusting, there's tools and strategies now where there is no excuse to not understand if your marketing and your branding is working for you. It's literally built into the apps you use, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Google, even Zillow has analytics that you can see if people are looking at you or clicking on your name. And so that's something that you're going to have to kind of do on your own. That sounds rude, but you have to look at your own analytics because my analytics are going to tell me something totally different than your analytics. It tells you who's viewing your profile, and as good or bad as this is, it tells you the gender that's viewing your profile the most, the age that's viewing your profile the most. And when I was at peak using marketing for building my business, it was literally like 93% women aged 18 to 27. And I was like, these are my people. That's
Right.
what I was. And I was like, these are
That-
who I'm selling to.
that's-
And so I would never get on my Instagram and talk about like things that a 38-year-old man would want to see because that's just not my audience. And then you have to adjust your strategies, refining your content and your marketing strategy based on the analytics you're seeing. If you keep posting, I had a realtor that, God love her, she's actually no longer at this company, but she'd be like, well, I post 3 stories a day and I'm doing the most. And I'd be like, okay, like, tell me about that. And she'd be like, well, 3 people see it. I'm like, okay. So like, let's pivot. And she's like, nope, this is what I do. And I'm like, okay, well, if you're unwilling to change your strategy, if it's not working, then there's no help I can provide. So it's the same thing. If you're posting on a Tuesday and you're saying, oh my gosh, really the most people that view my profile is on Thursday at 4 p.m., you gotta switch it up. Don't be so married to the idea that you created.
And if you're not going in and requesting more friends.
Oh, yeah.
especially if you're, let's just say you're even 3 years new in Facebook,
Yeah.
maybe even 5 years new in Facebook. That's not enough friends.
No, it's definitely not.
We've got how many? What's the limit? 5,000?
Five grand.
I'll take
You know,
it.
I'm a loan
Yes,
officer when
5,000.
all my numbers are associated with
With what?
dollars.
Is it 5,000?
Yeah.
So we've got plenty to go before you have to start monitoring and auditing your Facebook. But if you've been on for 10 plus years, because now I think it's like just all gone over that threshold of 10 years, then you can start going through and cleaning it up. But if
Yeah.
you're not anywhere near 5,000, by the way, guys, if someone friend requests you, unless they have some kind of weird little cartoon at the bottom of their photo, which do we know what that means, right? That's the hacked page.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you see the person's headshot and there's a squiggly little, and usually it's a heart for some reason, I'm noticing cartoon thing at the bottom of their photo.
Really?
That's the hacked page for the page, because I don't know what the difference, but it is. So be careful with those, or also look at this. If someone friend requests me and they have 2 friends, I'm not accept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they were friend request me and they have 1,000 plus friends and 27 of them are mutual, I'm going to accept.
All day.
For sure. And then what's your conversation with that person? By the way, if you want to start a conversation with them, what do you think the first thing you say? to someone who friend requested you and you have 27 mutual friends? How am I gonna engage this person? They friend requested me.
I see that you know so and so.
Yeah, thank you so much for friend requesting me. Wow, we both know these 27 people, or even just pick 2 of them that you actually know. That's how you start engaging conversations.
Yeah.
I believe mine's a politician who's running for Senate, and he had an automated response that was like really good. It was like just like you couldn't really tell it was an automated response until like you were like, oh, that was really fast.
Yeah,
You
Mm,
know what I mean?
yeah.
So I was thinking about trying to set that up at some point.
You can probably time it too, so it doesn't look so fast,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
it's okay. Being someone who does things automated, I'm okay with that, because I think that means the person was mindful enough to want to do that, you know? But go in and friend request your friend's friends.
yeah,
I do it often enough that I get to a point where it says, stop, you can't have any more today.
yeah,
Literally, every time, I keep going until it tells me to stop.
yeah,
So, and I've decided this, it's not random after a certain point, because I have enough friends right now. But not enough, because I don't have 5,000. So I'm looking for a target audience of who I'm looking for. So for me right now, I'm friend requesting other productivity coaches in the country.
mm,
That's it. I'm only requesting them. And I'm going in groups doing it. And anytime I'm in a Facebook group and someone comments, or I comment, or I like their post, or they like my post, I immediately friend request them.
mm,
Immediately. So if someone likes a post of yours, they could have seen it because you shared it or you tagged someone, immediately friend request them, they liked your post.
mm.
Also be aware that they could like your post even though they're not your friend, because maybe you tagged somebody in it or something.
For sure.
How do you feel about the whole at everybody or at everyone or whatever?
I use it I would use it very sparingly.
Be careful with that. Does everyone know what that means at everyone? So be careful
Yeah.
to do that with something that could be relevant to everybody.
Yeah,
Everybody doesn't want to know this thing, but they might want to know this thing.
Yeah.
I don't know that I love when I get tagged in and at everyone when it's like a lipstick ad. Or something.
oh, I rage. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay. Showcasing your expertise, sharing your experiences, I think is so helpful, not only to gain market share, but to also attract other realtors to whatever you're doing. And when I say that, I really like the success idea or success stories, on your Instagram stories or your Facebook stories, something that doesn't have to be permanent on the feed. And then really keeping regular updates with every platform that you have. Market trends are so important. And I think we, as someone in the industry or people in the industry, we hear it every day, or at least at every sales meeting, that we assume other people know what's going on with real estate, and they absolutely do not. Like, even if someone purchased a home 6 months ago, it is so different 6 months later. And it's so important to realize that nobody else understands the market or the industry unless they're in it every single day. And so keeping up with market trends and industry news is the number one way you can position yourself as a real estate expert. And it doesn't have to be, a bullet pointed paragraph of this is where rates are as of today, and this is where we anticipate them going, and how many listings. It could literally just be like, year over year, Jackson is 30% up on listings. What do you guys think about that? Ask them a question in the post. Just provide something of value industry-wide, industry related, and then ask for engagement.
I think did you refinance when it was 2%? And did you know since then your value has probably doubled maybe?
Love, yeah,
True story.
100%, 100%. I put a couple people on this presentation of people I really like to follow. And one really cool thing, which I love about our industry, is specifically Keller Williams, is there's no secrets, right? People want to see you win. So I would follow these people and just look at how they present their content. Everything looks pretty uniform. For example, Paige's brand is pretty modern. It's pretty neutral. There's nothing crazy about any of her posts. There's a little trendiness with her, in that she does a lot of TikTok style videos. However, everything is really uniform, very professional. I would go in and look at some of her stuff and take it as inspiration for something that you can do, because Paige in Utah is not going to care if you do the same style post as her here in North Canton, right? And one thing I want to point out about all of these folks I include in here too, let's take a specific look at their bio, right? So this person says, I stage and sell beautiful homes, 10 years of experience, team lead, Utah's finest at Real Broker, contact me to buy or sell. It tells what she does, how long she's been doing it, how to get a hold of her, where she's at. If your bio doesn't look something like this, you need to change it. Erica is by far my favorite realtor to follow. She's since kind of switched out and she coaches for something called Coffee and Contracts, which if you don't know what it is, you can purchase it for social media ideas. You don't need to do that because you're at Keller Williams. However, you can go in and literally look at her videos. She says, if I were in active production, I'd post this. Go do it. She was at the top of her game and now she's doing something else really cool, but same thing, helping realtors with marketing tips and ideas, content creator and coach, join our community. She says what she's doing, her location's in the bio. There's a link to contact her. Cameron's awesome. He is part of the agency, which is a luxury brokerage. Same thing. His bio is perfect. Believer, husband, father, realtor with the agency. His location and then the link to reach him. His content ideas are fantastic. They're mostly home-based. If you're someone who doesn't want to show your face as often and wants it to be more about actual houses, he's the perfect person to follow and get ideas from, because not all of these houses that he posts are his own. And then just like we had a branding quote, marketing is no longer about the stuff that you sell, but the stories that you tell. So for me, it's very similar to like what we talked about. Like you don't have to convince people to buy and sell houses. They're already going to do that. It's about convincing them to work with you. This is the same thing. It really doesn't matter if you're a realtor selling $100,000 houses or if you're a realtor selling $1.75 million houses. It's about how you're doing it. And that's the point of the social media. So I hope everybody liked this class. It's one of our favorites. I know that's a lot. It's like drinking from a water hose,
That's
but
okay, I love it. And now that I
yeah.
have this downloaded, I'm gonna upload it in the drive. for
Yay.
anyone who wants to go back and, look at it again. And we did record this class too.
Yes, please do. I'll stop.
PC group.
Am I in the PC group? Well, I come every Monday.
I was gonna say, can reach a list of all your favorite,
People to follow?
Yeah.
Yes, that is a really good one. I'll send it in the,
I'll just copy it in the, you mean, are you in the chat? She's not in the chat.
not in the chat, but I will definitely put that together and send it to
Yeah.
Gina, because that is 100% how I started. Because it is really hard. If this isn't something that you're used to doing,
Sure.
it's so hard to get started. So getting ideas from really successful people in other states or other markets, specifically someone that you want to have a business like, is the best way to get started.
They did it too, so it's okay.
100%.
There's no shame in it. There's
No shame, no shame in the inspiration game.
No.
That's for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And let me say this. If you say it's not working, I only can tell you, and I'll let Kate answer that question too, but let's say it's not working. My first response is, you didn't give it enough time.
Mm.
You didn't do it consistently enough, or your content's not good, your visuals aren't good, something about it needs to be tweaked.
Yeah, I would say you listed the importance in the correct order. So it takes at least a year to reap the benefits of the marketing and branding that you start today. You'll see results a lot quicker than a year if you do it consistently, but it takes a year for you to say, like, this is a pillar of lead generation for me. The second is the consistency. So the number one thing, the worst thing you could do is spend a lot of time upfront marketing, and then all of a sudden in 3 months, stop when you get busy, because it's going to be a cycle. And then when you get slow, because no one's calling you, because you're not marketing yourself, you're going to spend a lot of time marketing, and then you're going to get busy and you're going to stop. So the horrible cycle of like not doing it when you get busy, it's the worst thing you can do. That's why you have to plan ahead. And then the third thing, if it's really not working and you're doing everything right, it's probably because you're not posting the right things, and we could help with that, and I know Amanda can help with that too, but.
Yeah, and also this, we talk about this a lot, in particular on Mondays. Know the thing you're doing and how long it's going to take for you to see results from it. You will save yourself a lot of disappointment. It's kind of like this. If I'm gonna go door knocking in whatever neighborhood that's near here, I guess I'm in Belden, so there's none right here, but wherever. And I'm gonna door knock that neighborhood, I need to know that I'm not gonna get a listing probably today.
Yeah.
But then I'm gonna then send them a mailing. that's gonna give them a hook to send me their email address, and then I'm gonna send them emails. And then something else, and then something else.
Does anybody in this room or on the Zoom, has anybody like worked out at a high level before?
Gym?
They call it like when you first start working out.
Oh, yeah, there
If
go.
you haven't worked out in a really long time, if you first start working out, you get something called like beginner gains. Where like the first couple weeks, I would say to a month, like all of a sudden you look ripped because you're like losing all of the water, you're losing all of this like initial weird fat that's just here, like, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I look great. And then you plateau for a while until you hit the next level. Marketing is the exact same thing. When you start posting consistently for a month, you're going to get people be like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard from you in forever. It looks like you're doing so well. You're going to have all these conversations and you're going to plateau a little bit. And then you have to do what Gina said. You have to add more friends. You have to join more groups. You have to get different marketing ideas. Like you are going to plateau just like in working out when you get those beginner gains. It's the exact same thing. You just have to continuously level up to get to where you want to be.
Well, and I think you guys might have been on the locker room track, one of the weeks that was about social media, and someone who was on said, I don't understand, why the heck would anybody care, because I'm posting about a dog? What the heck does that have to do with real
Oh.
estate, and how the heck am I gonna get business from that? Do you
We should
remember
do
that, lady?
we should do the toothpaste exercise.
Go ahead.
Okay, so on the count of three, everyone in this room has to say it out loud because you're in front of me. And then on Zoom, if you just want to say it, that's helpful too. So on the count of three, I want you to all not scream, but loudly say toothpaste brand. 1, 2, 3.
Toothpaste brand.
Oh, not actually toothpaste brand. Like the first toothpaste brand that comes to mind. Oh my God, that was awesome. I love it. Nick did the same thing, I think. That I should have explained that better. That was amazing. But basically the exercise, and I heard too, usually when I do this exercise, we've done it when there's 25 people in the room and literally it's Crest and Colgate.
Yes.
And people will be like, wait, I don't even use that
No,
brand.
Tums is the.
Yeah, people will be like, I don't know why I said that. I don't even use that brand. It's always Crest and Colgate. And the reason for that is scientifically, people can hold two things in their mind when it comes to a subject. Obviously, they can think of things and it comes to them, but initially you can think of two things. And the reason why you want to be on social media is because you want to be the first realtor someone thinks of. Whether it's because you just posted about selling a house or you just posted a picture of your dog and they associate, oh, I just saw Kate again, just saw Kate again, just saw Kate again.
Right.
People have room for two people. You want to make sure you're one of two and that you're the better of the two.
Right, because somewhere along there, they're gonna remember that, oh yeah, 3 weeks ago, I saw a real estate post.
Yeah,
They
100%.
will connect it, so that's the point.
100%.
And so like, I didn't unmute myself that day, because sometimes I tell myself, you don't have to do all the talking,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to. But like, I really wanted to scream, oh my God, you just don't get it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't, but Lakita, this is recorded and it will not go in the Google Drive, it'll be on legacygroupguide.com. To answer your question.
Perfect. Perfect. I hope someone goes back and watches the toothpaste brand.
Yeah,
That was the highlight of the class.
maybe next year, with your help, we can do a bloopers from classes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so funny. I have plenty of those. But yeah, if you guys ever have any questions, obviously this is, I mean, what I'm passionate about. I personally did not like calling expired or FSBO, so this was my version of lead generating. And when you really can tap into a form of lead generation that you're enjoying, work becomes a lot easier. So again, I just challenge you to really put on your business owner cap when you're on Facebook or Instagram and think to yourself, like, how can I capitalize on lead generating while I'm already scrolling for an hour a day anyway? And think of it that way and see how that changes for you. But yeah, we're here to help. Matt and I are thrilled to sponsor this class for you guys. And yeah, you guys have any questions for me? Any ahas?
You talked about posts and short form content. I was really curious if you had any long form content that you enjoy.
Ooh, I love that idea. So when you say long form content, tell me a little bit more about that. So
YouTube, it's like 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
That is a really interesting question. So I don't, if it's on Zoom, I'm not sure if you guys heard that. We talked a lot about short form content today. So like single posts or 10-second videos. He asked about, have I ever thought about doing like a 10-minute YouTube or a 20-minute YouTube? I personally have not. I had one Q&A where I went live when I was a realtor with a lender on Facebook Live, and we went over the top 5 craziest things that happened to us in that past year. And I think that live video was about 20 minutes, and it got a ton of views, and it got a ton of comments of like, oh my gosh, these are such funny stories. And like, I need to hear more about that. So I haven't done any kind of pre-recorded video at that length, but I do think a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live, especially in the world of like, people just want to sit and watch something. I think live videos are awesome and a really good way to engage with people because they can comment live. But I have not dabbled in YouTube at all.
And I also think too, you have to think more about, like, I'm imagining what would cause me on what, platform to watch something that's more than 30 seconds or 2 minutes?
So I will say this is an interesting one. Now I'm thinking about it. I did do this on a couple different occasions, but big kind of pivot moments in the industry. Like, do you remember when Zillow bought Showing Time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Yeah. So I did a live on why
yeah.
that was horrific
Business, yeah.
for the industry and why consumers should care about it.
So there's my point. It has to be something really valuable.
Yes.
That people want to know more about, that they'll stay. I also think this too, if I get a personal invite to it when it's going to happen, and then it shows up in my events and it reminds me, I'm more likely to watch.
Yeah.
Or if it's recorded, and then I can go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could put like a story,
Yeah,
like in 24 hours.
Yep.
Click this link
Yep.
and my video will be posted or something.
I love
to keep
that.
People engaged.
yeah.
I love that.
Or like a
I'm in the
countdown.
midst of an hour YouTube video right now that I've been bite sizing, you know what I mean? Just because I'm not a scroller, so it's a really great, I don't know if you guys know who Alex Hermosa is.
Mm-mm.
I love that.
Love him.
Yeah.
And so he's got this amazing video on YouTube, and it's really relevant to right now, the new year. So if anybody else, I can send it to you and the guys in the chat. It's a great video, but I'm only about halfway through it because it's an hour. The second I saw it was an hour, I actually questioned, do I even want to start?
Yeah.
But then someone encouraged me. It was Jake from the locker room, and he's like, everyone has to watch it. I promise you. I know it's an hour, but you need to watch it. And I was like, oh my God, I love this, but it's still, even though I was loving every second of what he said, I can't commit to an hour. I struggle with it.
Yeah.
So it's there in my YouTube, and I listen whenever I'm in my car or I have a moment to, but so I think you gotta be careful how long.
Yeah.
And I think it has to be something where someone could start and go back and finish and not have to commit to.
I also think it's just one of those things where it's like, I think it would be amazing for the brand, but I don't know that you'll get a ton of leads from it. Like and now that I'm actually sitting here, we did a ton of long form content. Jessica and I were both on a radio show for 2 years where we had like a 1 hour, I like completely forgot about this, blacked that out of my life, but we did a radio show, and it was a 1 hour segment, and it went live every Saturday morning for an hour, but we did it every Wednesday. And it was honestly the most fun ever because we would just go so far off topic. We'd like start with like why Canton is amazing. And I'd be like, have you guys seen Zac Efron's face? Because what happened with that? Like, it's so different than what it used to be. So it would be just so silly and funny. And we only had like 2 leads come in 2 years. However, the amount of people that would be like, oh my gosh, just listened to you on Saturday. That's what you have to do it for. And it's just kind of that brand recognition and getting yourself out there and just being that person that can do something like that. I think it's the consistency that really just helps put you in a position of being remembered. But I don't know that I would say it helped my business in a way where I could track it. That's
It's the tracking part.
the tracking is really hard. And I'm a big ROI person. Like, I want to say it took me, and I got so clear when this was how I grew my business, because I didn't spend money anywhere else other than social media, and it wasn't a lot of it. I got so crystal clear of, I need to have 6 conversations on Facebook for one of them to become an appointment, for that to become an under contract, and it takes me 7 weeks. Like, I became so crystal clear on how many things that I'd have to do on social media in order to get a sale, because again, this is lead generating. Like, it's so hard to track like video But there has to be a way to do it, especially as it's like the most popular thing
Because
now.
the client theirself doesn't necessarily, because the path that they came to get to you,
Yeah,
they don't remember that it started with that.
yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
I'll also say this, join some Facebook groups.
Yeah,
Create a Facebook group, be part of it. So that's step number one. Number two, engage in it, like people's posts, comment on their posts, ask questions. If
and
some-
it just like Gina, you talk about groups so much, and like I feel like people don't value that
I'll
enough.
give you an example of what I just did.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Okay.
give you a real life example that's still flooding in.
Okay, love.
So you guys know I'm also a locker room coach. And so I said to Jake, who owns locker room, hey, so how am I gonna start to get some PC clients, right? And I said, tell me what you did to get 300 PC clients. When you
Yeah.
started the locker room 7 years ago, whatever. And he said it was really simple. It was all on social media.
Yeah,
I'm like, I knew you were gonna say that because I just got this big long spreadsheet of every PC across the country and it does not come with their phone number or email address. I'm not doing anything with it. I am not your girl. I am not data entry. I'm not gonna go Googling everybody's damn name. Not gonna happen. Anyway, so I said, so that source is out. And so he gave me some steps. And I'm like, okay, he gave me the blueprint. So here's what I'm gonna say. We give you guys a blueprint.
Oh, yeah.
Let me say it again. If you come to classes, you have the blueprint.
oh yeah,
You have to follow it. I can't make you follow it.
oh yeah,
So I'm like, okay, if I bother to have an hour conversation with him and he gave me the blueprint, maybe I should give it a try. And it still took me a couple days to do it. Like I should have did it immediately, but I didn't. Anyway, and so it was as simple as this. I joined a bunch of Keller Williams productivity coaches groups. I was already in some, but I joined anything I saw, doesn't matter who was the admin of it. Some you have to answer specific questions to get allowed to be in, blah, blah, blah. Next step, start friend requesting people that are in those groups.
yeah,
It's not weird. They know that they're gonna see Gina friend requested you and she's in the productivity coaching group that you're in,
yeah,
whatever. And then start looking for, and Jake reminded me, don't forget how you met me. And I'm like, my God, I'm genius. I met Jake on a PC Facebook group when I asked a question about a situation I was having and he replied.
yeah,
And here now I work with him.
yeah,
In any case, so here's what I did. I went in, joined about 7 different groups. One of which, and now I'm going to family reunion, was 2025 family reunion group. And basically was like faking that I was going. And then I got myself in a pickle, so now I'm
oh,
going.
thank God, you got scammed into coming with me now.
Yes, and so, then what I did was I friend requested a bunch of the people in there. And then I started looking for concerns and questions. And then just scrolled for concerns and questions that I could answer. And then started conversations with them. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to put together a PC group of my own, but I don't want people to be like, oh, another Facebook group. I'm already in 25. What difference is, what's this one gonna be any different? So instead I went out and I posted in every single group, hey, PCs out there, aren't we so fortunate? And this is just one example, but this could be done for buyers and sellers. I do the same thing lead generating for agents and now for coaches that we teach you to do for buyers and sellers. It's all the same system. Anyway, I went in there and I said, aren't we so blessed and so fortunate that we work for KW and we have so many resources and so many trainings. However, there's nothing for PCs. There isn't. And maybe we can all help each other. I'd love to have a Zoom with whoever wants to join to learn what's working in your business, what's not working in your business. Do you recruit? What are you using to recruit? What's working, what's not, and why? And then I said, I used to have 80 people in my program. I now have 50 people in my program, which was giving a little recognition that this is some new girl who has 2 people in her program trying to see what everybody else is doing. And my goal this year is to get back up to 80 people in coaching. And I want to learn from you all. And I want you all to learn from me.
Yeah,
Let's get a Zoom together. Who wants to come? Me. Like I had so many people flying in. I have 57 people coming to Zoom tomorrow
so cool.
from all across the country.
Nice.
And I'm still not keeping track. So like
Yeah.
so many people keep messaging me that I now have to put together a spreadsheet. So, and then what I did was send me your email address and I'll send you the Zoom link.
Yeah,
So this way I don't have to go hunting for their email address. And I don't even have an agenda yet for my Zoom tomorrow. You just gotta be one step ahead. You know
Love
what I
that.
mean? And so now I got all those people, still they're flying in.
Yeah.
all these messages, and then I said, let's meet at family reunion, even though I wasn't going.
I'm gonna turn this, I just realized I've been
Okay.
staring at them.
And so ask a question that's even like, I don't have the problem, they do,
Yeah,
but I just like, hey, I'm having this problem. How can we all help each other? And people want to say, oh my God, I have an idea for that.
yeah,
So I'm gonna put my agenda together. I'm not gonna like, I can wing it, honestly.
yeah.
But the point is just from that one paragraph, then I even went in the one Facebook group, which is controlled by corporate KW, and created an event. And said, message me if you want to join our group.
Mm-hmm.
And 25 other people were like, me. And so now all of a sudden I have all these PCs, like that's all I had to do, and it took me 5 minutes.
100%.
In
100%.
Facebook. So how could you apply that to real estate? Well, I thought, how can I apply this to real estate? So I started searching real estate groups in my area, and I joined them. First-time home buyers in my area, people looking to buy houses in Canton, Ohio in my area, like just there's a ton. There's a group for everything, by the way. And I joined all of them. So now I'm gonna take the same idea and go in there and start looking at what people are saying, try to be the solution, and then friend request them and see how we can turn this into, hey, maybe we can all collaborate on blah, blah, blah about the community, or who knows, it can be anything. That brings you business because then they think of you as, oh yeah, that's right, she sells real estate.
100%.
And that's now you're not cramming it down their throat. So I'll then keep you posted how many of those people that come, that now I go and meet at family reunion, that I'll get signed up to become their coach.
Love.
So that's where the results will come. Hell, I don't care if it's 2. I really don't. It could be 2. It took me 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually taking me longer to put the spreadsheet together,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's doing something and putting into action. So if you don't put it into action, all you guys, that's so great. Silver star for coming today. But if you don't put it into action, we don't pay you to come.
Yeah, you're dead to us. Just kidding. Just kidding. If I don't see a social media post out, I'll you today.
That's right.
Just kidding. Thank you guys so much. If you have any questions for me, I'm just in the chat really quick, gonna put my cell phone number just in case you need it. And yay. Can't wait to see you guys in person when it's warm.
Yes,
Perfect. How do I record this for you?
it's recorded.
It's already recording. I'm not the expert in that. I'm just marketing.
All right, guys, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the brave ones that came in.
Right.